Of course, making news headlines all over the world. 30 countries have now reported cases of coronavirus. Several nations have confirmed their first cases in the last 24 hours. Italy has become Europe's worst affected country, with more than 300 cases and 11 deaths. Meanwhile, British tourists are among those on lockdown in a hotel in Tenerife. Well, here in the UK, 2 schools have closed, with a dozen more telling pupils and staff to go into self-isolation. It's making the front pages, of course, as you would imagine. Virus panic hits schools, the headline there. Well, Dr Hilary's here, and you're always the voice of reason, always the voice of reason. You can understand people getting worried, concerned. You know, they read headlines like that, that we're, you know, this could be a pandemic. Hundreds of thousands of people might lose their lives in all of this. What is the bottom line?
OK, so the definition of an epidemic is a large number of cases in one specific area. We had that in Wuhan to start with.
Yes.
The definition of a pandemic is lots of people suffering from the same illness in many different regions across the world. If we look at that map, if this isn't a pandemic, I don't know what is.
Sure.
I'm the first one to say, I'm afraid, look, this is looking very much like a pandemic. Currently, the WHO is saying it's a global health emergency, but the two things are pretty similar.
Yes.
And clearly, if you look at the history of this particular virus, we're not containing this. It's now in 30 different countries, probably more. It's certainly now in Europe, with Italy having 323 cases and 11 deaths. Having said all that, people certainly don't need to panic.
Okay. This
This is a virus very much like the ordinary flu virus, except that it seems to be more transmissible and is more virulent. In other words, its mortality rate
if you
is
get
higher.
it, you're not going to die.
No, most people will recover from this within 2 weeks, just as they would from other forms of flu. Other forms of flu are still circulating, so most people with sniffles, coughs and fevers have got some other virus, not this one, especially in the UK, or even in Italy or any of the other countries in Europe.
I guess the most vulnerable of us, as always, as with the common flu, which of course claims lives every year, the common flu does.
We shouldn't forget that ordinary flu kills, on average, even in a good year, about 4,000 people in the UK alone, and probably 250,000 globally, to 500,000. So, you know, we look at these figures and people panic and think, well, that's a lot of people dying. Well, a lot of people are elderly, they've got pre-existing conditions, and they're the ones we need to protect most by controlling this virus as much as we can. And what people need to do is to you know, reinstate hand hygiene, washing their hands frequently.
Common sense, which you should be doing anyway.
Hand sanitisers, staying away from people who are obviously potentially infectious from any kind of virus, and taking simple precautions. And when we're told to self-isolate, that means staying home, not having visitors, not using public transport, leaving deliveries on your doorstep. And these are sensible precautions. Yes, it's inconvenient, it's a nuisance. You have to phone your employer and say, can I work from home? Can I take sick leave?
Which not everybody can, obviously.
But the employer doesn't want you to come in if you're potentially infectious and give it to all your staff so the company closes down completely. So it's just about being sensible. I mean, this is going to run for a while. This is many months, perhaps a year.
It's not going to go away, is it?
It's not going to go away quickly.
What about if you're travelling? Because a lot of people travel for work. A lot of people are going on holidays
soon,
you know, especially that you mentioned Italy. There's some problems in Spain.
Sure.
So should we stay at home and not travel? What should we do?
Look, if you want to stay at home and be a hermit for the next year, 2 years because of this, then fine. But I don't think that's very sensible. No. If I'd booked a holiday, you know, in a couple of weeks to Spain or Italy, I'd still be going, knowing what we know now. So, you know, certainly the Foreign Office aren't advising people not to travel, except to places where are hotspots. So there are 11 towns in northern Italy in lockdown. And of course, you wouldn't want to go there, but not many people do go to those particular towns. If you're coming back from there, as the school children have on ski trips from northern Italy, then it's sensible to deep clean the school and have those children at home for a little while. It's just
exactly, it makes sense. It's interesting. We're going to be talking to Nick Grimshaw later. He's part of the Sport Relief Challenge, and they were supposed to be going to Mongolia. Yeah, right. But they couldn't because of the coronavirus. Very difficult problems travelling, you know, with China on the border and all the rest of it. So they've actually gone to Namibia. Poor wee souls have been training in the cold. And
I'd rather go to Namibia than Venezuela.
I would be torn between the two. They're both so beautiful. But, I mean, how... You know, this is the thing about people being concerned and worried, and there's taking precautions and then there's going over the
top, I guess. Look, most people, even if they got this virus, will recover from it. The vast majority. It's the most vulnerable, as always, that are most... And we don't want this in residential care homes, just as you don't want it on cruise ships, because people in close proximity spread the germs more quickly.
Those poor people, it's been horrendous for them, hasn't it?
sensible. Yeah,
So it's common sense advice.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Common sense.
And if you're in a hotel and it's bad luck, if an Italian doctor from that region has brought the virus to that hotel, bad luck, you're in a hotel. You're not in prison, really, is it? It's a hotel room.
No,
it's not as bad as prison.
Still, it's not great, for goodness sake. Now, look, as I've got you here, interesting health headline this morning about menopausal women who are either going through the menopause or pre-menopause. It's this thing that drives me crazy. Not getting diagnosed and being fobbed off with antidepressants.
Yes.
Now, this is something, as you know, Dr Hilary Jones goes on about. She's evangelical about it.
Absolutely.
What is this? Is this more education for GPs?
Yeah,
or is this, what's
it is. This is a Mumsnet survey of 1,500 women, and they found that a quarter of them had to see a GP at least 3 times before being offered HRT. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, they're being palmed off because of anxiety and palpitations due to the menopause. They're being palmed off with antidepressants, which is inappropriate. So it is an educational thing that GPs need to get up to speed with, recognising symptoms of the menopause earlier, being a bit more empathetic and doing the blood tests that will prove whether someone's in a perimenopause or not.
Sure.
It's not rocket science, it really isn't, and it is a major problem for women. They're probably more aware of it than doctors at the moment, which we need to reverse. Yeah. But it's eminently treatable, and it's one of the most satisfying conditions to treat because you can give women their life back.
And it's and it's almost overnight. I mean, it's incredible. And of course, HRT isn't for everybody, but if it's for you, certainly for me,
it's an option.
Yeah, it absolutely is. As long as you've got all the facts and you can make up your mind. Hilary, thank you.
My pleasure.
Common sense personified.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
And please, if you've booked some travel, go and enjoy it.